Happy New Year! Can't believe it's a new year, 2025. Can't believe how fast 2024 went by, but 2023 went by that fast too. The older I get, the faster it goes. But we want to wish you a happy new year and hope this year is everything that you want it to be for you and yours. Hope everything goes just like you want it to go. So today, we're still all kind of under the weather. Matt is the one that's got the creeping crud now. I'm feeling way better, but I'm still not feeling 100%. And he's feeling a little bit better today, so I hope he's about to kick it out. So far, Katie's not had it as bad as we have, and Ira's not had it at all. And little Woodrow had like a little day of it, but he's better, doing good. Austin had just a tiny little bit, he's better. And then Corey's kind of coming out the other end like Matt. So some mean stuff, but this creeping crud, and hopefully though it's gone. And a lot of you have told me that you've had it too, so I'm so sorry, and I hope that you're on the mend and hope you're doing better. So I am gonna do, we gotta eat, we need something nourishing to eat, so I am gonna do my usual January 1st New Year's Day meal. I'm gonna make, instead of usually we would do black-eyed peas. Instead of that, I'm going to do the peas we grew, which are the Holstein peas that taste very similar to black-eyed peas. So I'm going to cook some of those. I laid out some pork. I'm not sure if I'm going to do the whole roast in the oven maybe, or if I will slice it and do pork chops. I haven't decided that yet. I hope it's turned off really cold again here, but I want to go outside and see if I can find any turnips and turnip greens and have those greens. And the turnips if there's any out there, and then probably just some cornbread, and that would be a delicious, really hearty, fulfilling filling meal, and help us maybe get over our creeping crud. I'm also going to make today my last hooray of Christmas, is how I think of it. I've been making it for many years. It's an sweet orange cinnamon pull-apart bread. I've shared it in other videos. Even during the July, y'all are the ones that convinced me. The past 2 Julys, Matt's got it for July, Christmas in July. Normally he only got it at Christmas, which is really right after Christmas. Like I said, started thinking of it as my last hooray of Christmas. And one year when I found the recipe many years ago now, I was at work and people was talking about these orange recipes, and then I was thinking, well, I've got oranges at home that's left over. We usually just have oranges at Christmas mostly. So I was thinking, what can I do with my oranges? And I'm a lover of breads, whether it's sweet breads or cornbread or just, sandwich bread, light bread, whatever it is. Biscuits, rolls, all those things. So I guess I was searching for that, and then I found this. And I will put the website down below so you can go and look at the original recipe. How Sweet It is the name of the website. And it's sweet orange cinnamon pull-apart bread. It is so good. Matt says it's his favorite dessert. That's why so many of you convinced me that I should make it more than once a year. It is kind of a complicated thing, though, that takes most of your day to do all the little steps and get it just right. I've always said I wanted to make the recipe and then make it maybe into cinnamon rolls or something like that. That might be easier. I really don't know that that would be any easier though. But it is delicious, and it's a really pretty presentation too. So I just keep making it the same way. So again, you should go to that website, How Sweet It Is. I'll put that link in the description. But I'll go over just the ingredients I'm going to get started with. You're going to need 2 3/4 cups of all-purpose flour. I have that over there in a bowl. 2 tablespoons of sugar, 2 1/4 teaspoons active dry yeast, 1/3 cup milk, whole or 2%, 1/4 cup unsalted butter. I'm pretty sure mine's salted, and it always is, and for me that's okay. 1/4 cup water, 2 teaspoons vanilla extract, 1/4 teaspoon salt, 2 large eggs, 2 tablespoons freshly grated orange zest. Now that's the recipe for the bread part. Then there's a filling recipe and an icing recipe. I'll tell you more about those later. Always before, I've used just my grater, I've got like a little cheese grater, and that's what I use to do the oranges, and that's the hardest part. What makes this bread so good is the orange flavor. So the bread's got 2 tablespoons of orange zest in it. The filling has 3 tablespoons in it, and then the icing has 1 tablespoon in it. So it's a lot of orange zest. last year, dear sweet lady sent me one after she saw me struggling. I said that was the hardest part. It is. Sent me this one, and it makes it way quicker. What I realized is, though, the first time I used it, now maybe I'm using it wrong, but the way I'm using it is it gets bigger, like the pieces get bigger, if that makes sense, which is no problem. But when I one of the first times I used it, and I made something that needed orange zest, the pieces were so big they kind of just cooked, and then they were tough in there. So then after that, what I started doing, because it is way faster than what I was doing, is I do the whole orange, and then I just use my knife to chop up those pieces. Now, I'm probably just not very adept at doing this, and probably you could get some little bitty ones off if you wanted to. But somehow the way I'm doing it, mine are way too long, and that's okay though. This is still way easier than what I was doing before, so thank you so much. And then once I get all the pieces of all the zest off, of course you kind of either got to eat the orange really quickly because it'll go bad. You can see over here, I just go ahead and chop up the orange and we eat it through the day. Now this year it's really good because we need it. That vitamin C is really good for all of us, and we've been eating oranges, so my supply is dwindling. Today will really dwindle it some more. But so that's what we do with them. We just go ahead and eat them. The very last step, that icing, you do need 1/4 cup of fresh orange juice. So some of them you could use for that. Anyway, now we need to get started. I'm going to read to you the directions and then we'll do them. Just for the bread part. So in the bowl of your electric mixer, stir together 2 cups of the flour, just 2 cups of it. You're going to save the rest of it. Sugar and yeast. Place the milk and butter in a small saucepan and heat over low heat just until the butter melts. Remove from the stove top and let sit for 2 to 3 minutes. Then stir in the water and vanilla extract. With the dough hook attached to your mixer, stir in the milk and butter mixture until combined. Add the salt and the eggs one at a time, beaten well after each addition. Beat in the orange zest. The dough will be very sticky. Add the remaining 3/4 cup flour gradually, beating for another 2 to 3 minutes until the dough comes together again. It should still be sticky. Place it in a well-oiled bowl, and cover with a towel. Let it rise in a warm place for an hour, and then I'll share the rest of the steps. So I need to get my mixer out, and then we can get started making the bread. Okay, I've got my flour in there. I'm just going to add the sugar, the yeast, and give it a quick little stir with the hook there. And then I'm going to melt the butter. Okay, I've got the butter melted in the milk. I'm going to add the water. It's been cooling for about 2 minutes, I guess. And the vanilla. And then we're ready to put it into our flour mixture there. Okay, it's kind of come together in a ball, and now we're going to add our eggs one at a time, or you could add the salt, whichever way you want to do it. Once you start adding the eggs, it takes the dough a minute or so to finally, it was all clumped up together, and at first you think, oh my goodness, it's never going to come back. But if you just keep going, just persevere. That was Corey's word she learned in kindergarten. She'd tell me, persevere. It's true. If you persevere, it'll be okay. So I'm going to add the other egg now. Okay, it's starting to look way more like that sticky dough. I'm going to add the salt. Give it a little mix, and then we'll be ready to add the rest of that flour that we saved. Some inside that. I'm just going to add it all, and then I'm going to grease up this bowl and use it to put my dough in for it to rise. Okay, and I bet you already realized what I forgot to add, the most important part. How could I forget the orange zest? I was looking at it and thinking, well, why do I not see any little orange specks? And I was like, because you didn't even add it, Tipper. Okay, let's mix it a minute more to let that incorporate. You can see how it is really, really sticky dough. And I don't even try to do anything to it other than put it in the bowl. Using a little paddle really helps. Try to get all of it. And we're just going to set it in a warm place for an hour and cover it. Just try to give some heat, extra heat, so that that dough will rise. I'm going to go ahead and put my peas on. I usually, for me and Matt, Katie's not as crazy about the peas or the beans as we are, so for us I usually just do a cup, whether it's soup beans or like peas like this. And that gives us plenty to eat, and usually enough to eat for one more meal too. So I'm going to go ahead and just add them to my pot here. I'm going to have to do some cleaning too. My kitchen's getting really messy. I've got just some bacon. I don't have any fat back, so I'm just going to add the bacon for seasoning. And then I've got some water. And I'll just let these cook until they're done. I've found that peas do not take as long as like soup beans, so these may be done well in advance of supper, but that'll be okay because they'll already be done, and then they'll be giving my dough some warmth to really rise up good. I probably will add some salt to that too, since the bacon's not very salty. Now some people say that you should wait until the beans or the peas are almost cooked and then season if you're going to use salt, because it can make them tough. I've done it both ways and I can't really tell a difference, but you should do what you prefer to do. So now that I've got the dough rising and the peas cooking, I'm going to try to clean up my kitchen and do a few other little things, and then I'll be back to show you the rest of how to put that wonderful bread together. It's been a little bit longer than an hour. The dough, as you can see, has risen nicely there, looking really good. My peas are cooked. They taste delicious. I had a little taste of them, so now we're ready to do the next step of the bread. So we're ready for the filling. I'm going to read you that first. You need 6 tablespoons of unsalted butter. I probably have salted, but that's okay. 1/2 cup sugar, 1 1/2 teaspoons of cinnamon, and 3 tablespoons freshly grated orange zest. Then here's the next directions. After 1 hour, punch the dough down and turn it out onto a floured surface. Roll it into a large rectangle, about 12 by 20 inches if possible. Add the filling. Brush the dough with the melted butter first. Cover with the sugar, cinnamon, orange zest. Use a pizza cutter to slice through the dough into 5 strips from top to bottom, lengthwise. Stack the 5 strips together, then cut them into 6 sets of squares. Every time I read that, my brain goes, what? But every year I have to think about it and figure out how to do it again. Then I've already done this part. Brush a 9 by 5 loaf pan liberally with melted butter. Place the dough cut side down into the loaf pan, pressing it together. Cover with plastic wrap and let rise in a warm place again for 45 minutes before we bake it. So first let's get the dough rolled out. Got me some flour right here. Let me take a little bit more than that. It smells so wonderful, sweet and yeasty and orange. I've been nibbling. I'm about to drop some dough. I've been nibbling on some of those oranges. They're so good, so good. I'm just going to kind of, it's a really soft dough, so it's not too terribly hard to roll out. To move my stuff, or I'll be putting it on the floor. I'm going to go ahead and put my cinnamon and my sugar there just to get rid of that little bowl. Okay, I think we're about there. It's not perfect, but it'll be fine. Need to find my little brush to brush on the butter. Okay. I'm going to go ahead and mix together my orange peel and my sugar and cinnamon just so that'll already be done. I'm just going to put the butter on. Some years I forget and I mix the butter all together with the other stuff. It's still fine if you do it that way. Okay, now ready to put the sugar, cinnamon, and orange peel. The addition of the cinnamon with the orange just smells so good. Okay, now we're ready to do our 5 long ways. Get that out of the way. 5 this way, and then we'll do 6 the other way. And you'll be better at me as far as measuring. I always start, and then I can start again if I mess up like I did. That's not going to work, so let me do a little bit more. That one's going to be good. Mine are so crooked. Yours will be way better than that. Now, this is kind of the weird part, is that you've got to pick them up and stack them on top of each other. And just don't, the first year I did it, I was like, oh, it's just stretching and it's just going to turn out terrible. But it didn't. It was still fine. And once the dough rises, this next time, it kind of hides all those imperfections. I'm going to put this one next. It's kind of wonky, and then put the nicest one last. Okay, now we're going to do, trying to get all that sugar. I don't want to lose any of it. Now we're going to do the 6, and again, I just kind of try to start and then start again. I could look at my little ruler and see how many I've got. I've got a little bit less than 5 inches would work. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I think that'll work. Okay. And you just go through them. And again, don't worry too much if they're not even, if they're wonky, it'll be fine. The rising of the dough will make it all perfect. Then when you get your pan, and you're going to put them, thinking about stacking them up like books is how I try to think about it. And you're going to do that cut side down. Now, really, pretty much all the sides except these outer ones are cut. So you could lay them that way, or you could lay them that way. Does that make sense? In other words, you could lay this one this way, or you could lay it this way. I think I'm going to lay them. On their side. So I'm not sure if that's what I do every year, but I'm going to do it this year. And again, some of them, because I'm not perfect, some of them are not as, like this one's enough to reach to both sides, and that one before it was not, but it'll be okay. It'll still be okay. And even if they don't totally fill out the pan, they will when they rise, so it'll be fine. Okay, let's see, I think I'm going to try to get all this little sugar that I lost, put it in there, and I'll show you. I'm going to wrap it, put some plastic over it. I guess I'll put it back over there by the stove where it's warm, and then let it rise for another 45 minutes. And this time I probably won't go over that 45 minutes because I'll be so anxious to taste it. I'm not sure if Matt wants to, depending on how he feels. We might just have to sneak downstairs and have a bite by the wood stove, or have a bite in here in the kitchen. But you can see that's what it what it looks like right now. Once it rises, it will just fill that all up. So let me get that situated, clean up my mess. While that's rising, I think I better go outside and see if I can find any turnips and any turnip greens. If not, I'm going to have cabbage. I did decide I'm not going to do a roast. I'm going to slice just in the pork loin is just half of one. I'm just going to slice it into little, not really pork chops, but loins, I guess, pork loin, like tenderloin, and fry that. And we'll have that with our beans and cornbread and some kind of greens. So I run outside to see if I could find any turnips. So far, so good. Some of them are still pretty small. I'll leave those, and you can see some just coming up right there. Here's a big one. This is I think hailstone maybe was the name of it. Mostly the ones we grow are the purple top or purple globe, but that's a big one, so I'll take that one. Having to fight the leaves for them. It's a good one. That one's much smaller, but I'll take it. Probably enough turnips, but there may not be enough greens, although it is just me and Matt that will eat them. But let's see what else we can find. Oh, there's a pretty one. Get all the leaves out of it. That's a nice one. I think that's plenty of turnips for us to eat, but I don't know. What do you think about the greens? Like you could tell me, right, Tipper? Oh, goodness. Maybe I'll cut a few handfuls of greens and then I'll head inside, and if I have to come back out, at least I ain't got far to come. I got the turnips all washed up. I think this is enough turnips. I hope that's enough greens. I've got just some diced bacon. I'm going to go ahead and put it in my pot here and take it over to the stove and let it kind of be rendering while I work on the greens. So one of my favorite ways to eat turnips is actually to eat them raw. So I wonder, let's see what these little ones taste like. These goldstone ones, that's kind of got a bad place in it, but it'll be okay. It's okay, but it's not near as spicy as the purple top, purple globe. I can't even remember the name of it. Not near as spicy as them. So when it comes to doing your greens, there's lots of different ways. There's my oven to heat. I'm about ready to put in that wonderful cinnamon bread. When it comes to doing your greens, there's lots of different ways to do it. All that matters is that you end up with something you like. I use a knife sometimes to just chop them up. Sometimes I just tear them. I try to, if there's a middle little stem there, that one's not really a good example. When I'm looking them, I kind of break that part off. But you can see on that one, it's still really thick. And you can cut that out if you want to. Other people say, well, leave it in and you just cook them so long that it cooks down. So I guess I kind of do a mixture of that. I break off the bottom part that's real tough, and sometimes I'll leave those and just kind of chop them smaller. So all that matters is how you like to do it, though, of course. But isn't it amazing? What I usually do is just, and I'm looking at these, and boy, did I not do a good job of washing that at all. It's like I washed it in a mud hole. But I just kind of take them and wad them up a little bit. If you can see this, if that's in the way or not. And just cut them into ribbons. And then I usually go back the other way too. But any way will work. Any way you want to do it. wouldn't suggest getting the mud off of them though. You'll do a better job than I did on that one. It was just one leaf. But what is amazing to me, why I love to grow turnips, if you've never grown them before, maybe you could try just a few in a little small bed, is because this is January 1st and I'm in my garden harvesting stuff. Even though I live in a place where we do have, you know, cold winters and stuff, because they can take that cold. So, and they're really easy to, most of the time, to take care of. So that day that me and Matt planted them, you know, it was still warm outside and all that, and we really haven't done anything to them. We just left them there. I think we watered them because of our dry summer. We might have watered them just in the very beginning when we had first planted them, but then after that we just let them go, and then here it is in January and I'm getting some, and we've been enjoying them already. And it's just such a wonderful thing to be able to do that in the middle of the winter, and for something that's really, like I said, easy to take care of when it comes to growing things. Now, you may not like turnips, so if you don't, there's that. I guess you'd be wanting to actually grow them. But if you do like them, you should try to just grow a few and just see what you think. See if you like them or not. And we've planted them a few times in the summer, and like in the spring, but mostly fall is when I want to plant my turnips, just so that I can do this on a cold winter day. So my bacon has rendered out a little bit. I'm going to go ahead and add the greens, add some of them. Another good way to chop them up is to a big noise there, is to use scissors. I've done that before. You could use your kitchen scissors. I'm going to add some salt and some pepper. Could add anything you want to, but add that, and I'm going to add some water, of course. I'll probably add all that. I think they're really good cooked with ham. Fat back, of course, if I had it, or streaked meat. But I will let these, I'm going to put a lid on it, and I'm going to let these cook for about, I'll just let them cook until I'm about 20 or 30 minutes before we're about to eat. I will add the turnips. I will quarter them up and add them, and then give them time to cook. But until then, I'm going to let these cook. And I'm going to, since it's getting late in the day, I'm going to cook them kind of on medium high, but I'll really have to watch and make sure the water doesn't escape on me. And as you can see back here in the back, I think you can see it, my cinnamon bread is ready to put in the oven. And you can see, even though, how I was talking about, even though it didn't fill it up to begin with, now it's kind of all full, the whole pan. And once it bakes, it will be even fuller, because of course during the baking it will rise even more. So I turned the bread out onto the dish here. It's just beautiful just like that. And it would be really tasty if you didn't want to add the icing, but I'm going to add the icing. So now I need to mix it up real quick. Now the last step is the icing, and for it, the orange icing, you need 2 cups of powdered sugar, 1/4 cup fresh orange juice, 1 tablespoon orange zest, and 1 teaspoon of vanilla extract. Seems like there was something else I was going to tell you. But I don't remember what it was, so let me just read the directions. Turn out the bread onto a flat surface, cover with the orange icing, and serve immediately. It's really good warmed up the next day too, though. Whisk all ingredients together until smooth and a glaze forms. If it's too thick, add more orange juice, 1 teaspoon at a time. If it's too thin, whisk in more sugar, a few tablespoons at a time, until desired consistency is reached. And again, the website is How Sweet It Is, and I'll put that in the description below so you can go see all their details about it. But now we just need to mix it all together. I've got all the ingredients here already ready. Get that wonderful orange zest in there. Make sure I get it all. And let me turn my timer off. That was actually the timer for the bread. I had took it out just a few minutes early because it was already getting really brown. And let me add a teaspoon of vanilla. Mix it all together. Okay, I should have got me a spoon to kind of drizzle it with though. Let me get one. I went ahead and added the turnips to my greens too so they can be cooking. I gotta do the cornbread, which is super easy, and then I just gotta fry the meat. I gotta cut it and then fry it, which is pretty easy too. Okay. You can drizzle it any way you want to. I'm sure you have a better way probably than I do, but I just start drizzling. Letting it drip down wherever it will. I can't see what I'm doing on that side. I'm going to turn it around. This old Fiesta dish that I've got it in was my Uncle Woodrow's. There's a chip in one side of it, but that don't bother me a bit. It was his and my Aunt Faye, Granny's sister. She died before Woodrow did, though. Now I'll have to ask Matt, can he wait for supper? Does he want to wait, or does he want to taste it right now? Okay. Looks delicious, doesn't it? Stirred my turnips a little bit, and I'll go see what Matt wants to do. Okay, he said he was ready for a piece. I wish you felt better. You could enjoy it more.
As we've been together, you should know the answer to that question.
So whether or not you'd want some?
Just holler and say, come get it.
Come get it.
It's done.
Okay, let me get you. I'll get this little piece here.
That's all I need is a little, so I'm not running sober.
Okay. You gotta have some with the stuff on it though. There you go. You want me to? Here. Get you some.
Some save on there.
Yeah, some save on there.
Yeah. My goodness.
Give me a piece. As good as usual.
Gosh, yeah.
Can you taste it even with your?
Yeah, I'm tasting. Golly, that's good.
The bread is really a soft, fluffy bread, isn't it? It's actually, the dough is better than any other like cinnamon roll that I've ever made. I should just make this dough and then make my cinnamon rolls from that.
That might be what Plum Cure's made out here.
Maybe. It does have a lot of orange in it. So what do you think about New Year's? You ain't had time to think about it this year.
Wait.
Like the new year.
Oh. Well, I'm older, which is not good, but it's better than the alternative, I suppose.
Mm-hmm.
If I can just get to feeling better. I'm pretty sure my lungs fail.
What kind?
And drop down where they ain't supposed to be.
What kind of tea is that you're drinking?
It's peppermint and honey tea.
It sounds good.
It's good.
I mean, it does. It sounds good, but it wouldn't be good to me, I'm sure.
Right.
Mm-mm.
It's really good.
Mm-mm.
Tastes like Christmas.
Mm-mm. What's your goals for the new year?
I'm not really a goal-oriented guy. I just keep doing, try not to go backward from what I've been doing, I guess.
That's a pretty good goal.
Just try to maintain. So far, I ain't doing too good. I'm sick.
They say there's so many of those old wives' tales, old folklore about New Year's Day, that whatever you do, you'll be doing the rest of the year. So I hope you ain't sick.
I may too.
There's the one about don't wash clothes, you wash somebody out of your life. I can't remember all of them. Of course, the meal that we're kind of going by it, but if you have the greens, the peas, and the pork, you'll be healthy, wealthy, and wise. Ain't that it?
Yeah.
I didn't even know about that until I started writing the Blind Pig and the Acorn. That was not one I grew up with. Was it you? Did you?
I mean, I remember hearing it. We didn't always adhere to the meal every year, but sometimes we did. But I was around it and remember hearing people talk about it.
Last night I heard, I guess Matt did, some fireworks going off.
I think I heard a little bit before I went to sleep.
Yeah, but we were asleep well before midnight. We always are. Well, I was. Matt said he had trouble going to sleep. Was that last night or night before?
Both nights.
I was being sick as well.
Yeah.
But you was probably asleep by midnight though.
Yeah, I was last night because that one all went off last night. I didn't hear none of that. I heard it prior to then. Sounded like somebody shooting a gun.
I think somebody was shooting a gun and then fireworks in the distance, like pop, 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 pop in the distance.
Way too late in the night for me to be up and doing anything.
Yeah. We usually don't do anything.
No.
If we do something, Matt's really happy if we do this, but I don't always do it on New Year's Day. And we don't always do the peas and stuff, although we have for the last few years, I guess. And one year our friend Granny Sue, remember Granny Sue and Larry? She would always have a bonfire in West Virginia, and people could come and have food and all that kind of stuff, but they could also write down any of their troubles and throw them in the fire. And one year we didn't have the bonfire, and we didn't get to go see Granny Sue, even though we'd like to. We did a version of that in the basement. You remember that? Me and you and Katie and Corey. And I don't think Matt wrote nothing down.
I don't remember. I remember it.
You remember us doing it, and we threw it in the wood stove and then sat down there and talked and probably drunk hot chocolate or something. I can't remember.
Yeah.
But we've had such a blessed year that I wouldn't write nothing down. Now I could write down things like, that affected other people, thinking about the storm and those kind of things, but writing them down and burning them wouldn't make that go away. Mostly that was a tradition of doing that for like worries and doubts that you had personally to yourself. There's plenty wrong in the world, of course, things like a terrible storm and people being sick with not just colds like we've got, but really sick and things like that. But we've been so blessed this year. Become grandparents, and Corey and Austin moving beside us, which was something we would have never in a million years dreamed might happen. Granny getting better, and just lots of blessings, lots of different blessings.
I think I'm slightly turned into Granny.
Have you?
Because I'm doing the very thing that used to irritate me really bad.
What?
Every time I hear them or see them or whatever go out, I get up and go out on the porch and try to know and see what they're doing, and I kind of want to call and say, where are you going, what you's doing? And it ain't none of my business. And I used to be just ever so slightly aggravated when she would do that here.
Oh, Granny still does it.
But
it don't bother me now.
Now I see it. I mean, I guess that don't ever go away.
Yeah, when I was young, things like that Granny did really would bother me. Like even when me and Matt was dating, probably. But after I had Corey and Katie, and she wanted me, then I got it. Why she wanted me to call her when I got somewhere. Why she worried until I was home. And why she, if we went to see Papa Tony or Miss Cindy or on other kind of trip, she would worry herself until we were back in the holler. We didn't have to come see her, just knowing we were at home. And I can't remember where you and Katie and Corey was all gone one time, and it was just me here. This was a long time ago. It might have been when y'all went to the races. They went to one big NASCAR race, and actually Miss Cindy unbelievably went with you.
Yeah, that's still a shocker to me that she went and sat through that.
And I didn't go because one reason I didn't want to go, but then we were having a Jenkins family reunion. And so I said, no, I can't miss that. I'm not going to go. And they'd already got the tickets and stuff, so they went. But anyway, telling you all that to tell you, I remember this, that Greenie, I went down one evening to probably eat supper with Greenie and Pap. I can't remember, this was before he died. And so I got ready to leave and said I was going to come back up here. Of course, she tried to get me to spend the night. And I said, no, I'm going to go home. It'll just be easier. All my stuff's up there. And Ruby, our little dog Ruby's up there. It'll just be easier. I'll go home, feed the chickens and do all that. And she said, you know, kept trying to get me to. And she finally realized I wasn't going to. And I said, well, I'm going to go home and I'll see y'all tomorrow. And she said, well, okay, I'm going to go out on the porch, though, and watch you and make sure you get all the way home. And, you know, like Matt said, when I was younger, that would really made me mad because I would have thought of it, I guess, like she thought I was too stupid or she was just being so silly or whatever. But I just smiled. I said, okay. So I would probably been like in my 40s then. I was like, okay, you watch me and make sure I get in the house. And of course, when I got in the house, I had to call and tell her that I checked the house and there was nobody in here. You know, no killer, no murder.
Yeah.
Anyway, but I just smiled. I said, okay, you watch me get home, and then I'll tell you when I get in the house and check under all the beds and make sure there's nobody there. Anyway, but it's just love. And like Paul's, she especially does it to Paul because he doesn't have a family. And he says, though, you know, if it eases her mind one iota for me to call and tell her that I got to wherever I'm going, I'm just going to do it. If it just makes her happy and eases her worrying. So there are some people that worry more than others. And Granny's whole family was like that. They were just kind of worriers, the Jenkins. They just worried about stuff. And I tease and say I was tempered growing up by that. So I had those that worried, like, be careful, you're going down the steps, you might fall, be really careful. Compared to my daddy's family, the Wilsons, who would probably say, like, I know you're only 5, but take this axe. Also take your baby brother, hold him by the hand, take him with you, and go split wood. I need kindling for the fire. And you'll be fine. Just go do it. So I said I got a healthy dose from each side of maybe what you shouldn't do. Or extremes on each side. I know you were just turned loose and let go.
Oh, pretty much, yeah.
I better check my greens real quick. Oh no, they're fine. Matt, looking over there, I was thinking, are you hear them? Are they getting, like, is the water cooking out? But they've got plenty. It'd be a terrible thing to scorch my greens and your turnips.
I'd eat them anyway.
I wouldn't. I don't like stuff that's scorched. Anyway, we are looking forward to a good new year and continued, just like Matt said, kind of maintain what we're doing. Matt's got to get to work on his barn, shed, whatever shed, I guess.
Yeah, hunting's over with.
Hunting's over
except
with.
For squirrels.
And of course, I'm already dreaming, about the garden. Dreaming about it. Excited that we're going to do corn this year, and hopefully we'll be able to do other stuff down there instead of just the corn. And we talked about irrigation. If we don't get all the irrigation, we got to get the shed built. That's no matter what, even if everything else don't get done. But the irrigation for down there was simpler than up here, so maybe we could get that done. I don't know. Yeah.
We'll do something.
And maybe we'll have a year where we don't have to worry about it.
Most years we don't.
No, most years we don't. Most years we get ample rain and don't have to worry about it. So it's nice to think about the future, but I guess me and Matt, neither one really make New Year's resolutions or anything like that. Like you said, we just plan for the next season, thinking about planting taters, I guess, and carrots will be our first things.
Yep.
Last year our taters were really, really late when we planted them, but they still produced. But this year maybe we can plant more. We want to plant more of those wonderful sweet potatoes.
Oh, yeah,
I used the last white sweet potatoes last night. I've been down to the ones that are just about that big round. But that's all the sweet potatoes we grew. So we'll be wanting to grow more of those this year. They were so good. The corn was so good. Can't resist. He's gonna have to get another bite.
Just a little bite of that while it's still warm.
Oh, I
Before
know.
it sets up.
This is really good though. If you make it, it's good right now, but it's good like, you know, it. Oh, you're gonna have to pick it up and eat it anyway. Unless Corey and Austin eat some of this, Katie won't eat it. So me and Matt it'll take us 2 or 3 days to eat this, but we'll eat it. And if you just get a little piece even tomorrow when it's cold and warm it like what, 20 seconds in the microwave, or you can warm it in the oven if you don't want to use the microwave.
A hot cup of coffee is good.
Or a glass of cold milk, so I like it. That orange is just so flavorful. It just adds to it.
It's the best dessert I've ever eaten, by far.
I should make it for you more than, thanks to all of them, I'm making it twice a year now.
Oh,
Used to only get it once a year.
It's just so involved.
It is involved, but it's so good. I need to try it without, I don't know though, it'd still be involved. I started to say without doing it in this shape, but it'd still probably be involved. It's awful good though.
Gosh, yeah.
I'm glad I found it all those years ago.
Me too. That's my favorite.
Well, I think this along with a really good supper and a good night of sleep, maybe tomorrow you'll feel a whole lot better.
I hope so. I feel better today than I did yesterday, but I'm still kind of struggling.
Yeah.
I have got to get some wood in.
Yeah, we
'Cause
hear
it's
cold
cold
weather's
weather
coming and Matt needs to get wood in, but he sure didn't feel like it today.
And the bad thing is I'm going to split it first. So, yeah, maybe I should have just went down there and just flew into it with an axe and just sweated this out, I reckon.
Maybe, I don't know.
And that, or I'd be face down in the creek down there on the other.
Yeah, it's just I think it's just a bad cold, but even I'm still kind of, you probably can tell my voice is kind of still hoarse and I'm just still tired, but.
It's mean.
Mean cold, yeah, mean cold. Well, this'll do.
Gosh, yeah, that's good stuff.
Now I just gotta get my cornbread and my meat done, and then you'll be able to eat again, and then you have this for dessert. Can you hold all that?
I'll figure out a way to hold it.
Okay.
Thank you.
Got the cornbread ready. Ooh, I may have got a little too done. I'm going to take up the rest of supper, and then we'll be ready to eat. I went ahead and got Matt's hot pickles out. I know he'll like that, and I sliced an onion. This is going to be a feast. It's going to be really good. Fairly simple meal if I hadn't have spent all my day making the orange cinnamon bread, but it was worth it. Let's see if I can find Matt. Looks pretty good.
Gosh, yeah.
Turnips and the greens are going to be delicious, I know.
I definitely want some of them.
I don't know which I'm most excited about. I guess the greens and the turnips. Although I know the peas are going to be good. So these are the Holstein peas, Matt, that we grew. Matt's looking for, I didn't get that out, I forgot. He's looking for lemon juice to put in on his greens. he puts lemon juice. I know a lot of people put vinegar.
I do vinegar sometimes too.
Did you get too much?
I think I way overdone it there.
That'd still be good.
Burn this hack out of
Maybe. I don't like anything on my greens, just the greens. Other than maybe some salt, but I should have salted them enough. They should be good. Love the turnips too, though. Mm. I ended up with enough greens, although once they cook down, I do have more turnips than I do the greens. So I'll take a little piece of the pork loin. I don't want any of Matt's hot peppers, but I would like some onion. I'll go on my, I'm going to slice it up a little bit. Just put them on top. I should have diced them up, but I didn't. This works though. Okay. Now, I've not I tasted the beans earlier, or the Holstein peas, not really beans. Let's taste another though. Let me get some cornbread with them. You gotta have cornbread, right? A little piece of onion. So good. You can entree. Katie's coming, standing there. I'll try the greens. Melt in your mouth. Matt and I really like turnip greens, but I guess our favorites is mustard greens, and they have turnips have a kind of a bite, like thinking about radishes and horseradish and those kind of things.
Potatoes?
Those are turnips.
Is there any butter in here?
No, just grease, just bacon grease.
I don't know if I'll eat them.
Well, you can try them. They're really good. Turnips are really good. Anyway, the mustard have like a spiciness to them too. So I don't know. A lot of people ask us if we eat collards. I like collards okay, and Matt does too, but if thinking about greens, we really prefer the mustard, or other than that, the turnips. Both of those, I guess, but mostly mustard. Such a feast. I hope you enjoyed being part of our New Year's Day. You had a good day, Katie?
Yeah, I have.
Little one's asleep, so Katie's gonna get to eat here. Eat the
Fell to
pigs.
the weather.
Yeah, Katie feels like she's getting the creeping crud now.
I know it,
It's
there's no
crept to
doubt.
her.
I kind of feel like fat trash garbage, but you know.
She doesn't feel
Gotta
so
get through
far as bad as I did, or that Matt does right now. So hopefully,
No, I don't.
hopefully she won't. And she's been doctoring herself with all sorts of things, trying to ward it off, so that
Got my herbal concoctions.
so that she can keep mothering Ira without feeling too bad. But we hope you enjoyed being part of our day. We're so grateful for you, and we're really excited about 2025, just as our family, and lots of maintaining, as Matt said. But another thing we'd like to maintain is you. So I hope that you continue to enjoy our videos in this coming year, and we're always happy when you drop by to help us celebrate Appalachia.
Bye.
You usually say that's a wrap.
Oh, hold on. I'll say it.
Gotta come back.
That's a wrap.
That's a wrap. Katie's eating. This is our leftovers from last night, which is those last of the sweet potatoes that we grew that I was telling you about. So she's going to eat that along with her pork that I fried in beef tallow. Is that what I used, Katie?
Yeah, and it,
Katie's
the bite I
beef
had was
tallow.
really good. I love beef
I think it'll
tallow.
be good.
Katie loves beef tallow. My head hurts. Huh? I'm still videoing. So this is now my channel and my show, and what we're gonna do on my show is we'll move all of this and we'll cook something else, just for fun. Maybe we'll figure out what we can do. We can make a dessert out of these peas, because that would be really good. And then maybe we can dry this out and grind it and turn it into something. And I'm joking. Mama shouldn't have left her camera running if she didn't want me to be chatting at y'all. But in all sincerity and no goofing, I should probably eat while the child is asleep so I can enjoy a hot meal. And hope all y'all enjoy your supper or your breakfast or your snack or whatever you're doing, wherever you're at this time. Hugs to you from Appalachia. Stay warm. I know there's cold weather coming. Cheers.